Randomizer, and I'm joined here by Quacksilver, who's just counting in the races for Curvy vs Tash. This is the losers round one of the lower bracket of the Hollow Knight Randomizer tournament, and it should be really good fun. Looking at the board, it's quite interesting. We've got a lot of content goals, so hopefully we can see some fun plays made. We've got Check Void Heart, which is going to be locked behind a whole bunch of stuff, so that's quite late. We've got Defeat Troopmaster Grim, Talk to Maskmaker, Carefree Melody. Carefree Melody and Troopmaster Grim synergizing really well. A few random charm goals. A couple of really early city goals in Talk to Tuck and Sit on City of Tears Quirrell Bench. We've got Talk to a Militia, 4 Mimics, Talk to Midwife, so Maskmaker and Midwife. Deep Nest is looking pretty stacked. Killer King's Mold, which is behind 3 Dream Nails. Buyout Leg Eater and 5 Wanderers Journal synergizing is very geo-heavy. Fluke Mom, which is an impossible boss, so it'll be interesting how people work around there only really being 24 doable goals on the board. And Defeat Hornet 2, which is a pretty rough boss fight, so we might see them going into that quite under-equipped, and could be really interesting to see, like say, how they route in all these goals.
And I don't know if this has come up already, but this is the first match in the losers bracket of the double elimination part of the tournament, so one of these players' tournament run stops here.
Yeah, very early for people to be getting eliminated, it feels like, but that's just the nature of it. You know, there's always going to be people that are surprised and knocked out this early, but yeah, hopefully they both play well and can at least be happy with their run in the tournament.
For sure. And I know Tash in particular was one of the runners that a lot of people were surprised he wound up in the lower bracket to begin with. And then with a rough matchup in his round one winner's side to Mike, already fighting for elimination and will be for the remainder of his tournament run. So just a Wanderer's Journal at Fury. It's the old adage, whenever both runners actually check Fury, it's nothing. And whenever people skip it, that's when it becomes progression. And so we'll probably get a fairly ordinary Crossroads clear now.
The skip Fury into dash at Fury is an iconic combo we've seen a few times this tournament already. So luckily we haven't got anything like that. Zelda looking pretty barren. But there is Quick Slash, which is, so Curvy's going to pick that up for a little bit of extra damage. If they don't run into a spell or anything, the False Knight fight will be a lot faster for Curvy.
Yeah, it's always a little bit dangerous, but when Zelda offers you damage, enough geo to take it without rendering yourself completely broke, it's usually not that bad to get. And already we see a divergence as Curvy skips grub while Tash goes and checks them out.
Alright, so very high grubs for Distant Village Stag and a Dream Nail. So with the 3 Distant Village-ish goals, I expect to see players walk in there pretty soon, just because it's so good goals-wise. Curvy electing to skip the bench, probably just in favour of a bit of extra early speed in case there is, goals at shops or False Knight or something. Tash, not very healthy at the moment.
This is a bad...
Definitely should not be skipping the bench in this situation. Yeah.
A bit of a rough start there.
Curvy
and
going under in the Gome room, but can afford the time loss, given how far ahead he is.
Yeah, so anything in this ordinary circuit, Crossroads Stag, Dirtmouth Stag, False Knight, is probably Curvy's to acquire, and that's already Soul Eater, which I don't think is on this board, but is a nice charm to have once you get the notches for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually a really good charm, especially as soon as they get a spell, you can just shoot out spells like it's no one's business. Dash slash it dirt mouse stag, so that's not useful at the moment just because we don't have dash. But once we do, so if we do run into a dash, that could be the intended boulder killer and our way out of Crossroads.
A good point. Dash slash is a boulder killer on easy logic.
And Tash will
Yeah, right
check
now.
that as well.
Ordinary Crossroads. I love the holding the dash slash animation, even though you can never actually let the slash go.
Yeah, it's interesting how nail arts work when you can't actually use them. And yeah, so both electing to do false knight. So curvy, did they quit quick slash? No. Okay. So they'll have the same speed false knight fight.
Kirby, he's still with a bit of an advantage from the earlier just movement up to this point, so this should be his set of checks to have, though.
Yeah, for sure. One thing to note is that Tash is about 220 geo up, which could potentially come in handy if progressions add Slayer or Zelda, because major progression items, so that's your Claw, Cloak, Wings, Sea Dash, Isthmus, that kind of thing, are all priced between 100 and 500, so curvy could very well not be able to afford it and end up having to farm the Husk Guards or something, which would be really rough for them.
And so far, with only a couple checks left in Logic before shops become the move, could be in danger of that. But Lantern.
So that puts Resting Grounds and a Rantsteg in Crystal Peak in Logic, so we could see that becoming required. It is a very long way to walk for not that many checks until you get Dive or Dream Nail. So I'd like to see them probably do shops first, or shop, if they don't want to do the Shade Skip. Weaver Song, so that is a medium logic boulder killer, so they will not be required to do that. But
Gonna go for it.
Go ahead and check
right
boulder Soul Catcher anyway.
That Lantern also means that I don't remember exactly what Distant Village Stag was at, but it was a double-digit grubs, and so if you don't want
15.
to farm grubs, if, for instance, you are of the impression that more than 10 grubs don't exist in this game, go through Deep Nest the long way.
Yeah, and I mean, it's as soon as they get vertical, it is significantly easier to just walk to Deep Nest than it is to farm 15 grubs. Tash making the play to stay in Logic, so we will see that Crystal Peaks. And curvy. Weaver Song is the most annoying boulder killer.
The little spiders are just really finicky, and it takes more than one hit to kill, so that's, I think, more than any difficulty, that's the reason why that's on medium.
Yeah, it's not like you have any control over it, it's just pray that your stupid spiders decide to actually hit the boulder.
The Kirby staying in Crossroads a little longer, it looks like, is going to wrap around to shops, while Tash is just headed right through Crystal Peaks into Resting Grounds.
Yeah, and one thing worth noting is that Soul Catcher check gave Curvy a Pale Ore, which there is a 2 Pale Ore goal on the board, so they could be off to a nice early goal advantage if they do run into another one. Meanwhile, nothing at that Rantsteg for Tash.
Although Pale Ore at shops tends to run a little bit expensive, I think up to 1,500 Geo, so there's a good chance that Kirby might find one, but be unable to afford it for the foreseeable future until he can get to right side.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go spending Geo on Pale Ore at this point anyway, so it's not too bad. And I doubt Tash would as well, so I think they can kind of just bank on finding a random one.
Tash.
Apparently QG Stag was at 6 grubs, so that's probably a deep nest access.
Tuner. A nice way to spend a geo. Also, curvy starting that by Wanderer's Journals early, but rendering himself pretty broke in the process, as Tash has already made it to the Dream Nail cutscene. So it looks like that's where the next progression is anyway, which puts Tash at a pretty significant advantage for this at least next link in the progression.
Going to Green Path. With the boulder killing. It looks like that's what they'll do once they check grubs. With QG Stag at 6, you very well could... but then you have to do the arena, and I'm not sure how much either runner's really vibing that at the moment.
Yeah, nail 0, no damage.
Yeah, if you were fine with it, it'd be a free mask maker, free midwife, and it sets you up for getting Carefree Melody as well.
Right, so Kirby's gonna sit here for another minute while the spiders think about what they want to do with their lives. Meanwhile, Tash, I think this is his last logical check. So
yep, there we go.
It's Stag.
Yeah,
that means that green path is mostly logical anyway. So Kirby actually just skipping a middle step, but missing out anything that's in cliffs. For instance, a Dream Nail.
So there could be something at Essence, in which case Curvy probably will be pretty significantly disadvantaged. And Dash Master, the best charm in the game.
We've seen all the support pieces, we just need that dash.
And now Tash is one Longeo, so yeah, if Curvy ends up having to buy that Dream Nail, they're gonna have to farm 100 geo at this point. No, Tash, don't... Oh, you can go under, I guess, yeah. Oh, good.
And they already have lanterns, so Joni's Blessing could also be a very entertaining curse location for something important. Speaking of cursed things, a city crest is...
That's actually important.
Could still be our intended way to right side. We don't have enough information yet to prove that it's not.
Plus we've got the city crest and both large elevators goal as well, so it could very well end up being something like a goal for Tash, which as always is really important in Lockout. Yeah, Ismas or C-Dash, and then we just need a simple key and King's Brand, and then 2 white fragments, and we can get that Birthplace Egg Claw.
That's, that's the dream. Doesn't matter, because Claw's going to be right here at Joni's. We had a long walk into a stag chain, so now Joni's has to be Claw. Be the same on Hard Logic, except they just wouldn't get the lantern.
Yeah. Nice deboost from Tash.
I mean, that jump is doable.
Oh yeah,
that deboost, right? Because this room should be in Logic with the lantern, I believe.
Yeah, it's 100% doable, but, show off a nice little deboost. And Joni's is... Ooh, Cloak. Wow.
Oh, that's big.
Wow.
It's also a long while before Kirby finds that.
Yeah, that's a press F for Curvy kind of moment. So curvy now being down dash and dash master, which is just mega zoom.
Yeah, curvy needs some goals or some vertical real quick to stay in this early game.
And
that's not gonna help.
Well, if you're Tash, that QG arena is looking pretty doable about now.
Get the lantern, just in case it's Vanilla Grim Child. But at this point, with Tash's luck, Boulder Shell Claw is now what I'm calling. Shell at least technically accessible for Curvy without finding the stag, because he could shade skip up there and use Weaver's Song to kill the boulders, but that's certainly not a first order play you think of.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy logic. Also, I will say, Schwedler, Tash is very much owed some good luck. This entire tournament, he has gotten the raw end of the deal, so catching a break probably isn't, you know, it's been a long time coming.
I mean, even with this early movement lead, there are a lot of goals that require some rough boss fights or just large combinations of movement, so...
Yeah, there's still a lot that can go wrong for Tash. Oh my
to
god.
practice dash / boulders, despite having just picked up Fireball.
If he's finding dash / boulders hard, he can just do dash ones. Come on.
Forget he's got Fireball.
And a hidden station stag, oh my god.
Oh.
Charge it up inside the boulder's curl up range so you don't have to get kids thrown at you. Oh, Tash. Why?
I'm now accepting bets from the chat on how long it will take Tash to remember that he does in fact have VS.
Oh yeah. Not gonna lie, I forgot.
So, but right now, Hidden Station Stag isn't a whole lot. It makes check Void Heart much easier down the line. It also could be intended right side in combined with Claw if we find that somewhere in Green Path.
Yeah, it also makes Killer King's mold easier. If we run into a hole... Oh, there's another Dream Nail, so that's Curvy's first. But that means that we have seen 3 already if players are willing to farm 17 grubs.
Kirby, despite having just grabbed the Dream Nail, is still going to finish out Green Path first, it looks like, before heading that Resting Grounds way, so may still be a while before... Oh, good point.
Get that first goal in.
If you're Tash and you see Curvy mark no eyes, it probably tells you that Curvy did not go the long way that you did, right? That seems fair to say. It'll be difficult for Curvy to have gotten this far ahead, although Tash making pretty good time through.
Oh, Curvy falling in the field's bad hole. There we go. Yeah, I think that as Tash, if you're confident that you did everything about as fast as you can, which really he did, then it's probably safe to say that you're up dash. But
also Kirby just getting the check.
He doesn't know that there was the Dream Nail at Hornet, so he could think that they got the same one. That is a goal for Tash in Spell Twister. Yep, gonna mark that.
Kirby did turn around for the no eyes fight. Alright.
And this fight just sucks. It's not even that it's that hard if you like use the safe spot and all that. It's just slow. Tash being up Fireball could potentially snipe this if Kirby has a unlucky pattern. Okay, Kirby's staying pretty healthy though. He should get it done first. Come on Tash, you have Fireball. You have Fireball. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so it's looking very much like Kirby's kill at this point. Kirby's no eyes fight is actually quite clean. That's really cool. Alright, so yeah, Kirby just gonna snipe that. They're really synced up leaving no eyes. And yeah, just going down to Fog Canyon now. Probably going to be pretty quiet goals-wise for a little bit, just as everyone starts marking. Oh no, Curvy making the mistake of bringing Weaver's song into Fog Canyon. So everything's going to be exploding and just making life hard, but gets through relatively unscathed. Still in a slight lead, but Tash's dash will narrow that pretty quickly.
Ooh, and a second pale ore.
Yep, so it's 2-1 for Curvy now.
But without the dash that Tash has, Curvy can't proceed past Queen's station, so Curvy has no choice but to go around through peaks at long last.
Well,
as Tash just keeps finding more stuff.
But yeah, this is a really big disadvantage for Curvy, having to backtrack all this stuff Tash has done, plus giving a ton of time for him to just get even further ahead. Yeah, Tash electing not to check Hidden Stag. It is just one check, and there's a lot more available to him.
No, Curvy, you can exit this room to the right even if you fall. Lacking the information. Has to reset that's unfortunate.
And you can see a quick ogre's kill from Tash. Howling Wraith putting in work here.
Yeah, this dash advantage is
And
super
Grimchild.
strong, and Grimchild to boot.
Yeah, so if you're Tash now, you probably just kill Grim and get QG Stag, and then you've got Carefree Melody, Troopmaster Grim, Mask Maker, Midwife. Like, that's 4 goals for a boss fight and a little bit of walking.
Another Cloak and Shaman Stone at Leg Eater.
I imagine Tash is gonna kill Elder Hu while he's here as well. Or not.
Just rushing the Grim fight, it looks like.
Oh yes, because why fight Elder Hu when you can fight Grim? Grimchild's not spawned. Yeah, get the play.
Those that don't know, if you try and enter the Grim fight when your minion charms aren't spawning, he will try to pull Grim Kid in, and then your game will soft lock, so we allow deploy bench there to make sure that doesn't come up in a race.
And Curvy getting through the peak dark room, so they will catch up and get all their movement and stuff pretty soon.
Hopefully they don't skip over Jonies.
Oh yeah, this Jonies. Oh, man, that's
or hopefully
so
there's
rough.
another dash in Essence.
Yeah, or just something that gets you into fun.
That's true. Wings with low Essence would be even better. Tash, I believe, just checked the first check and then left.
Yeah.
And it looks like neither runner too concerned right now with the grub stags, although for Tash that can probably change as soon as he finishes up this Grim fight, because DV stag represents 3 goals.
Yeah, or the QG one, which is actually better because you can get Mask Maker without doing a whole bunch of Omega cursed stuff.
And Tash especially, but hopefully eventually Curvy has the damage for even that annoying QG arena at this point. Shaman Stone is a big pickup.
Shaman Wraiths just makes the Petras so much easier.
And Tash also has, although not logically, everything he needs to go to right side city with dash and an air stall. So if he wants to get Lem for whatever reason, perhaps if he finds Defender's Crest, that's also within his realm of capability.
Yeah, and I think Tash is pretty comfy with trying chasing it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but that said, there's that little Lurian security. Is that easy to right side access?
And that's a way to Leg Eater to get a dash easier than going all the way around. I'm assuming Curvy will still get baited by the stag, unfortunately, but if Curvy skips Jonies, it's not necessarily an instant game over now because of Lurian.
Yeah, if Curvy does do the infection pogo, because they might just see Elder Hu and be like, oh, Dream Boss, I do that. Oh, Dream Warrior, I can do that. And if they do, then they're going to be right back in it.
Also, man, dashless Elder Who, that takes some amount of confidence. Tash gonna finish up the grim fight here.
Curvy unable to afford that dream nail, but since they already have one, it's not really a huge deal. And Tash wrapping up Tripmaster Grim now. Curvy getting their Dash Master, but no dash.
Hopefully a problem that is soon
Inherit for
fixable.
Tash.
There's some good Dreamer locations.
Yeah.
Pity our tiebreaker goal is Eternal Ordeal and not White Defender. That is sort of the beauty of this board, is for all of the lucky breaks that Ash has gotten in terms of following logic to get a ton of extra stuff. Only really been able to leverage that to about a 1-goal lead right now, because I'm assuming Tash will pick up Elder Who, but not a huge grub lead for some of that other progression that's sitting at grubs. Kirby is hopefully about to find their dash. So, still anyone's game.
Yeah, for sure. Tash, yeah, probably going to get this Elder Who, which is about what we expect. Hopefully he does remember that there is that QG stag there, though it was pointed out to me that we do need vertical to get from QG stag down because of the Thorns room above Maskmaker, but as soon as we do run into that vertical, I think that that's probably the chain that they want to be following.
It's okay, wings at QG stag. Just have a little faith. The seed has been so kind already.
No, wings that come back here. The the relic to the left of Queen's Gardens is just great with dash only.
I was about to say, I'm
great, I mean
fairly
absolutely
certain you can do that with dash only, but not on easy, and
logic.
not if you value your sanity.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And critically, it looks like Curvy skipped over Jonies, being already at the bottom of cliffs, which is very dangerous.
Yeah, unfortunate, because I think Jonies is just such a bad check to do in that situation. So
when Curvy also skipped over the Hot Springs bench on their way into Crossroads, so that makes going around to get to Leg Eater painful. I'm hoping this stall here is a check the helper log moment. See that
yeah, I mean,
we
we haven't
still
seen
there.
Salubri. And Tash gonna come down, check Claw, Dash Master, all that business.
Equipping Dash Master.
Shaman Dash Master
check
already.
Dash Master.
That's the randomizer combo. Collector's map.
Nice.
We don't have any of the 1-geo junk items on the board, actually.
I did really appreciate, I think it was Kirby who just bought God Tuner because it was there and it was only 1-geo.
Yeah.
It always warms my heart.
Buy first, ask questions later. But yes, I definitely think, even though 15 or 17 grubs is a lot, routing in grubs at this point is probably a pretty good play. We're going to see a 1 Mantis Pogo from Tash.
I want to believe. Kirby also stagged back to Stag Nest. Looked like they were on the right read. Now are paused at the Stag. This is rough.
Tash not knowing the parry back up on that big Mantis there, so going all the way around.
All the way around is devastating to an any percent speedrun, but here it's just a couple seconds to this Wanderer's Journal.
Yeah, and that is Tash's second, I think, but there is that one in shops, so that will probably become doable to both runners very soon. Curvy just suffering at the moment.
Walking
Really
back
unfortunate, but
to No Eyes. So Kirby, aware of it, the lantern gets them checks, but a little lost on what those checks should be.
is this an autopilot seal check?
Looks like it. Tash gonna go ahead and open up Glade as well.
We're gonna see some, I was gonna say Revik parries, but probably smart not to go for that. Curvy, yeah, not thinking to check Jonies is like 99.9% of the correct play. So I think that, yeah, it probably doesn't have a super clear idea of where progression will be. It's a lot of one-off checks, and I think Salubra as well, so probably wouldn't mind seeing... Oh no, it still
The
doesn't have
Lubra's not
damage.
logical.
Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, in this case, it's just one-off checks, and they're all so slow. Curvy...
Walking around the autopilot seal.
Autopilot there. Don't have two shade gates, do we?
I don't believe
Oh,
so. I think this is just some misinformation on Kirby's part. Because it's one of these side doors, unclear on which one.
down one. Yep, there we go. Yep, Curvy's on the right track.
Tash, meanwhile, with logical access to Salubra, is going to go clear out shops this time around.
Yeah, this is a good play. Shops are just so strong.
I wonder, given that Tash has not made a huge effort to rush grubs, I wonder if this play also implies the true end shade skip to get over to right side.
Oh, don't need
Infection.
a shade skip. He's got infection, yeah. And Tash not going to buy God Tuner. Saving himself that one geo for a rainy day. And I can see about 4 pixels of Tash's stream, so I cannot see how many journals that is, but it's at least
that
one.
Was his third. Maybe, yeah, he's looking through shops at this point. Buying the King's Idol
buying relics, so
implies that he is headed right side.
Right side.
Kirby headed back down the well. I'm not sure, other than grub checks. I believe. Maybe Kirby's double checking?
Yeah.
I believe Jonies is Kirby's last logical check.
Maybe. So we will see that soon then. Oh, Maulet. Except Curvy doesn't have a spell, so that's
I know
not
the VS was in Cliffs as well. Did Kirby not pick that up?
Journal. Nah, Curvy walked out of Cliffs.
Also, yes, Moloch is in logic as well, even without the dash, so that could also be something. At this point, I think the right side opens up much more checks, so...
Yeah, I think Curvy will probably finish off Cliffs now, unless they do go for the sequence break.
It's always nice when you come through King's Station for the first time with enough spells to actually feel good about doing this gauntlet.
Yep. Yeah, this gauntlet and the QG one in particular are just terrible, but this one you often end up having to do with less than the QG one, so it feels pretty bad.
It's not in and of itself like nightmarishly difficult gauntlet as far as gauntlets go. Like the second QG one is much worse objectively, but
Yeah,
since you often come down that elevator with very little equipment, it feels bad to both skip it and have it be something, and also to feel obligated to do it with like just nail or just nail and dive and have it take a long time and be kind of threatening.
yeah. And curvy, gonna do that wallet check. Not in logic, but still quite nice. It's relatively quick.
Also something that we haven't seen before, so who knows? Maybe this is Claw.
A new check.
So if you're Tash, where do you go from here? Oh, shop key is also pretty nice after you sell to Lem. I'm assuming Tash goes out of his way a little bit further to get that Quirrell bench.
Yeah, I think so. It would definitely make sense. Just start pushing that goal lead.
It's Curvy having a bit of a rough start to Moloch, but recovered all right. Is back. Pretty consistent rhythm.
Yeah, Curvy has pretty solid boss fights and stuff, so from what I've seen, so not too much of a problem. And that is a goal for Curvy, nice. Really just doing their best to still keep in it despite the big progression disadvantage. So they might come out of this not too far behind if they can get onto that dash and progression chain kind of soon. But given how long they've been down dash master, they've done really well to keep in it. And that's buyout leg eater for Tash.
Also swinging back by King Station for that shopkeeper's key.
Yep, and Curvy gonna check this, which is not in logic, but relatively easy to do. Not really having any troubles with it, and nice one-off check. And just a vessel fragment, unfortunately.
So Sly with Shopkeeper's Key, adding a simple key to Tash's inventory, as well as it looked like bringing him up to 4 out of 5 Wanderer's Journals for that next goal.
Yeah, plus that simple key giving waterways access, which is an easy talk to Tut, and that's another goal. So I won't be surprised to see Tash really just hammering through goals now, just because it's just pushing a lead, which is just the ideal lockout strategy, kind of just doing them in the order that they probably will become available to Curvy to try and choke out any chance to come back.
Back in cliffs, so hopefully we got the right
Alright, so
read
this
at this
should
point.
be progression for Curvy. Even if they don't do Jonies, they can get Fireball. And then that won't give them too many checks, so then they can do Jonies. But holding right, so we should see a Jonies here. Come on, yes, there we go. Okay, so Curvy is on that progression. Oh, please.
Curvy, no.
Oh, it's so unfortunate because, like I say, Jonies is just such a bad check to do, especially without dive. So, like, you can't get out without vertical, more or less. But that is a vengeful spirit.
Like, okay, that gets Boulder Shell, which I remembered joking was Claw. It was actually something alright. Was that where
Yeah.
Hidden Station Sag was?
Yes, it was, but we're gonna warp out anyway. This might be the Jonies play.
I want to believe.
Because they obviously were thinking about it really hard, so I have faith.
For all this time spent down Dash has not been able to find vertical to really choke out Kirby's like chances at all. So if
Yeah, I
Kirby
mean, the problem
does a
more
good
is
job
that
of reading
Kirby's...
where Tash
Ooh,
isn't,
so that's a tier. So that's not anything huge, but some checks, which, can't complain. And this is going to be Jonies from Curvy, so...
alright,
Unless,
just need to live this room.
yeah, which is honestly easier said than done. It's a painful room. Lantern helping a bit, but unless you know where the platforms are, there's a lot of blind drops and stuff.
As Kirby is helpfully demonstrating for our audience right now.
There we go. Alright, that's low-key like the hardest bit. So Kirby should be fine now. Yep. Yeah, really nice pogo there to save it. And Kirby showing off that you don't need to do a damage boost or anything.
Ash wisely going around for this last check in Waterways, and rewarded hugely with Shade Soul.
So Shade Soul Shaman is quite nice. Check Shape of Iron will become available quite soon. And there we go, Curvy getting that cloak. That's really good. Just puts Curvy back in the game. And Hidden Station was a 5th Wanderer's Journal for Tash, so it was good, just not as good as we had hoped, maybe.
Yeah. So, 3 goal deficit, but still in the game because there hasn't been vertical found yet. At this point, my money's on vertical at G Stag. I feel like we have enough grubs in logic to force that. I think.
Yeah, because it's like a 3 grub leeway on easy, and we've got 5 in Crossroads, 4 in Green Path, we've got 1 of the fungal ones, so that's 10, which is already more than enough, plus we've got like, I think city access, logically? No.
So,
No.
yet.
But yeah, there's like the one in Cliffs and other just assorted ones.
The one in Cliffs, yep. I was supposed to say, because I thought I saw that.
And Tash gonna go check this. Can't get the next check because you need 1 or both verticals to be able to get up the other side, but he can free the scrub, so he's obviously at least thinking about grubs.
Are we going to pick up Grimchild and realize just how long they've been without a dash?
Yeah, exactly. Curvy... Yeah, it's so hard from this kind of spot. You have to just try and think of checks that Tash hasn't done, just if you assume that he hasn't found vertical or any major progression. And Curvy seeing that there is in fact a second cloak here. Just really rubbing it in. Which
Yeah, that's rough.
they will buy.
Yeah, especially given that we haven't found logical right side yet, or in even logical city. There's nothing that gets us through that city crest gate. I feel like the grubs we have.
Should be left side city access logically with.
This was in waterways though.
Oh yeah. Tash
So-
going for that well infection dash only. I respect it.
I'm betting there's some
looks
piece
like
of progression
yeah.
at this stag.
Yep.
Curvy, yep, heading to bottom fungal, but fortunately we know what's at all these locations.
Oh my god. Alright, so that's dive for Tash. That is crits and just a whole bunch of other nice stuff.
That's a logical way to right side too.
Yeah, you just go get your mask maker, get your midwife. Never mind. You check crits.
And so, entering at the start into Stagnus Stag in Resting Grounds, dash at Joni's, which lets you get enough grubs just barely to get 8 grub QG stat for dive. I think I accidentally channeled Locust when generating the seed.
Yeah, this is pretty cursed. It would have taken me a long time to check Joni's. King's Brand, let's go. One more white fragment as well, and we've got that check Void Heart.
I mean, plus Claw at Birthplace Egg.
Exactly. Oh, wings.
Never mind.
There we go. So that blows the seat wide open.
Our progression chain comes to an end.
So that means that the dash... Oh no, it was not needed technically. Oh, actually no, with the 3 grub buffer it might be required in logic.
I don't think there's any way you could get up to 11 grubs without dash logically, because there's the one in Crossroads that's Pogo. There's the one behind Massive Moss Charger that's a Shade Skip or a Fireball Skip. I think that dash was needed for easy logic.
Yeah. Yeah, plus you wouldn't be able to get the one in Fungal. But yeah, that's huge for Tash. Luckily it's early enough that if... Actually, it's that 3 grubs for Curvy. Yeah, okay, so that's really rough.
Yeah.
Kinda through no fault of their own, but that's just rando. The rando giveth and the rando taketh away.
Sometimes you get your progression handed to you in Crossroads, and sometimes you got these long linear seeds that just whoever picks the right thread first.
Yeah. Blue, the seed is... Hang on.
You're just looking for the number?
Yeah, there we go. I've got it now.
Tash, letting us all bask in the glory of Ismas and City Crest, even though it's not his first right side access. It's still nice to see. And the only way he could get City Crest without Claw.
Yeah. Has he not marked Quirrell Bench? No, okay, so this is an easy Quirrell Bench. And that'll be 7-3 now for Tash.
become
Again,
8-3.
really not a ton you can do.
As Curvy correctly anticipating that the seed is cursed, but betting on the wrong kind of curse, it looks like, was going to start the grim fight.
And it looks like, yeah, we will see a grim fight from Curvy, so a bit unfortunate there, just because going to be a bit of a time waste, and Tash lever skipping to get his next big elevator.
Curvy looks like might not know about the deploy bench, because Curvy keeps leaving to reset the room, but if minion charms are glitched, that's not going to fix it.
Yeah, that's a restart the game if they don't deploy bench.
Curvy just warping out, which is actually good for them because hopefully it puts them on the grub route for too long.
Yeah, like I say, it's just so hard because it's just been such a cursed all over the place seed. And is this going to be a acid bridge check? Not in logic, but might still be done. Nope.
I believe Tash got that with Ashmaster, though, did he not?
I think so.
Is Tash gonna ride that second elevator, mark his 8th goal?
Yep, and that looks like it's going to be a cucumber check for Curvy. Yep. And Trampass for Tash.
Hey, we actually, for all of the curse of this seed, all of our terrible one-off items, Trampass, Brand, Lantern, Grimchild, all pretty easily accessible for a change.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace when the curse comes in the form of wonky progression instead of like the one random goal you need being in a really obscure location. And a mark pride for Tash, so that's a boulder killer. Certainly our first one.
That's just overflowing with boulder killers at this point. Also having killed all of the boulders that needs to.
Yeah. And I think if you Tash at this point, you just start closing out. Yes, this is going to be a fluke mom kill.
Going back for Grim round 2. Tash have a static path to victory? I am assuming yes, based on the board at large. But what does that look like? Fluke Marmon Hornet 2. Extremely doable at this point, as are the Deep Nest goals. What does that put him up to? Kirby having some difficulty with the bench's interactability, it looks like. Swerves to it, gonna unequip, re-equip Grimchild, and good to go.
There we are. Yes, that's a bit finicky, but Curvy getting there. And Tash finishing Fluke Mom on 1 health and realizing that probably gonna die? Yep.
Nice photo op there, though.
Yeah, that was a pause, and it's like, probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. And yeah, with his version, you need some vertical to get to shape up.
without Ismas, you also need some vertical to get to shape of bone.
Yeah, full stop, you need some vertical. Without Ismas, you need a lot of stuff and a lot of patience slash
Very
skill.
true.
We're yet to see a C dash though, or so that will make 4 minutes a lot harder. And another simple key for Tash, that is pleasure house access. And Tash probably going to go to God Room just for that eternal ordeal setup.
It's not bad to preview what's there with the simple key
actually,
you have
yeah,
before
I forgot about that.
you go using it on
case,
Pleasure House.
That's definitely a good play.
Seed has already been so weird already. Is this curvy? His third balloon on the grim fight, I believe?
I think so. They'll be making pretty quick work of it as we just took over the 1 hour. But yeah, if you're Tash at the moment, I think Mask Anchor, Midwife, Carefree Melody, and then Hornet 2 or something is probably the correct play. That is a Black Egg check opening up for Tash. Claw and Black Egg, question mark.
With the
Except,
three named streamers to boot, so it's logic. It's logical.
Yeah, except I think that last one's not logic without, because it's enemy pogos with wings.
Fair point.
Could be Jude Claw. Another cloak in the well.
C-dash. It is just insult the injury right there.
So upside in Tash neglecting to check all that stuff. If Curvy does go QG stag, finds the dive, gets wings, and then does the 3 goals, that will put it at 9-6, which is a lot more doable.
Curvy's got a very narrow window to get, it looks like 5 grubs before Ash just runs away with the game.
Yeah. Oh, just a Marsha.
Imagine if it were Claw, or C-Dash, or a third Dream.
Or C-Dash, or just, you know, something fun.
Bender's Crest.
Tash. Going somewhere, doing something.
Might be Kingdom's Edge, maybe? Nope, we're going left.
House, maybe?
Use the simple key already.
Oh yeah, that's right. Basin, I guess? For reasons. And with the range, got stones. Might be nail. No, oh no, Defender's Crest sign.
Yeah, okay, with Dashmaster, he's in and of itself is enough stuff to make that spike tunnel doable.
Yeah, or Fireball or Wraiths or Dash Slash or Great Slash. Like, he's got 4 ways he can do that spike tunnel. You have to go right side, buddy.
Yeah, a bit trickier when you can't do the left side version and C-dash across, but...
Tash electing to do the Dashmaster version. I mean, the Fireball version, despite having Dashmaster.
Having it equipped, I believe.
Yeah. And not seeing a bunch of success with it.
Now also possibly going to get the wrong idea about this seed's cursedness again, getting their second Dreamer.
Tash not super healthy going through this room, and you can get sniped. So yeah, taking the time to heal, I really like that. And just gonna vibe his way down to Basin. Again, in spite of having the stag, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's one check on your way down. But
yeah, I mean, he was probably going for, like, say, the Defender's Crest. Sorry, the Defender's Zone. But why are you doing that when you have a static path to victory?
like, confident with the spike tunnel, I'd certainly rather do that, even with the awkward Formpler on the other side of the spike tunnel. That still seems better than doing Hornet 2, although I guess with Shaman Shade Soul it's not going to get much better.
Yeah, and I mean, like, at least do the 3 goals in Deep Nest first.
There is a curious avoiding of the spider zone right now. Remembering that
Right, this should be
Boulder
shaken
Shell
on check
exists.
at least. Okay, if you do this, surely you just do the Deep Nest goals. That's literally finishing at that point.
And honestly, at this point, go for the swag strat. Do 4 mimics through Colo 3. You've earned it. Colo 2, rather.
Okay, so there is Talk to Mask Maker. Hang on, I'll go through in order. So you can do Talk to Mask Maker, you can do Carefree Melody, you can do...
Ooh, that's a rough death for Curvy to take.
Talk to Midwife, you can do Check Shape 1, you can do Hornet 2, you can technically do Dung Defender Sign before Poisonous Grove. So there's those 3 goals all grouped together in Deep Nest that are really strong. But yeah, really unfortunate death there for Curvy.
When you're behind 6 goals is not the time to be dying to Balder Shell, unfortunately. Especially after killing the Balders.
Yeah. And a rent stake for Tash's efforts.
This looks like the Deep Nest play. From the other side, maybe? Now we're just doing some quick wings checks, ignore me.
And the resting ground stag.
And that would have been so helpful right at the beginning of this game. So Kirby continuing to get a little bit baited by this seed. I'm assuming they go and follow Hidden Station Stag next, see it's nothing, and try regrouping from there. While Tash is going into Deep Nest from this side rather than from QG.
Yeah, Tash... Ooh, not doing the setup to make that any easier. Yeah. He's gonna have to either... Yeah. If only there was... I don't know. Yep, yeah, there we go. Nice.
Tash on the warpath. As Curvy sees it's just a Wanderer's Journal at that station, and shaking his head a little bit.
And yeah, so Tash going into the arena now. This one being a lot nicer when you have Shade Soul Shaman and you can, you know, nail hit and a double and you just kill Petras. A lot nicer than like all stag stations where it's no Shaman, base VS only.
Yeah, having to do that in Rando feels like it takes an hour every time. Because especially the grounded
trying to do it
traders.
fast isn't any better.
Grounded traders have so much health.
Yeah, it's like, feels like about 90 health or 85 or something. It's ridiculous when you're doing like 5 damage per nail swing. And Curvy getting their twister, so just seeing where Tash found that a while ago, and Tash getting through that arena, showing off how big a difference that bulk damage makes.
And
Shades
honestly,
Shaman is just so versatile.
the hitbox upgrade, with just how large Shadesville Shaman is, you can just sort of throw fireballs willy-nilly, and it works. We stalled at Thorns. My guess, based on what I recall of their checks, is that they're looking at helper log and seeing nothing but shops and grubs, and so are faced with a rather difficult conundrum.
Yeah, this is, like I say, not being a kind seed, and doubly so not a kind seed to race Lockout on. I definitely think, credit should definitely be given to Curvy for managing to get those 3 goals early and try and mitigate some of the impact that Tash finding Dash has had. But then once he got that kind of out of the way dive into the kind of out of the way wings, it was just like, that's just so hard to come back from. Rando can be a bit deterministic in just whoever finds vertical first wins, and when the person that found vertical first also found dash first, that really rings true.
And a lot of the efforts made in between the Swiss phase and the bracket phase of this tournament was to stop the reverse effect, where it's just dependent on a ton of random goals, and like blind luck has a much larger hand in determining the victor. But here we see the sort of far reverse of that, where it just comes down to a progression race.
Ends up being blind luck, but instead of being for 6 random goals, it's just for chloral wings.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to balance.
And like you said, it was really good goal trade back and forth at the beginning, where Curvy, even down dash, was holding their own, keeping random goals together. And vertical.
Keeping in the game when you're down dash is insanely hard. So to have done it for the first 20 odd minutes, it felt like, was really good. And Tash, allergic to goals apparently, is checking Weaver's Den.
Definitely out of logic with all these spider bogos, but
out of logic, and you have a very clear-cut path to winning. You probably shouldn't even be doing checks anymore, even if they're literally on the way.
And given that Curvy is in this side of Green Path with no checks whatsoever, it looks like they are finally on the grubs hunt. Just a bit too late. Maybe I'm speaking too soon.
Really unfortunate. I mean, Tash can't put this off much longer. Physically. And Curvy getting some grubs, getting Acid Bridge maybe?
I mean, they already checked Thorns, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
They do have Dash Master equipped, so should be able to get this, yeah.
Yep, no problem. Tash doesn't have Grimchild equipped, yeah. So Tash is going to be able to get to 12, and then it's probably easier to just go do something else than come all the way back. Oh no, he has Dreamgate, yeah. Okay, this should be fine. Don't do that. If you go in the cutscene, you can't get out. Oh
Yeah,
no, he actually went all the way to B-Stem and didn't do the 2 goals.
I was gonna say, with just wings and no claw, like, unless this is the modlog play of the century, and claws at the first check in B-Stand is forced to warp out, correct? Like, there's
Yeah.
some really convoluted shade skip you can do to get up, but
He's not even
that
checking.
seems unlikely.
He's walking past the goal there. I mean, not
Confused
goal,
about where midwife is, perhaps?
Yeah. Oh, look, a hole. Oh, look, a Randstep. Yep. I have no clue what Tash is doing.
Modlog play of the century. Nope, just a seal. Instead, it was vanilla.
Tash, have you realized your mistake now?
I feel like we gotta bring Tash all the way around to the point in B-Stem where the shade skip is required before we see,
I mean, that's where the shade skip is. And you can't Dreamgate in B-Stem either.
I did not know that. But
Tash
curvy,
may be realizing his mistake now.
so that's just sort of artificially inflating the game time. But on the other screen, Kirby's still sitting at what appears to be 3 grubs, so it's not looking great for either runner in this moment.
But that is a Grimchild equipped for Tash, and he doesn't have to do the arena, so this should be over relatively soon.
This part of Deep Nest, it's not too bad to see a second time. Relatively fast. You gotta do your best to not get ambushed by spiders on the way down.
I wonder...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
I was just going to say, it looks like we have reached the end of our new checks, so we get to play our favorite game called Where the Heck Was Clovis Seed? That's a pretty critical thing to be missing for an entire almost hour and a half.
Yeah, it's been a seed and a half. I mean, Abyss still hasn't been checked. And a lot of that's in logic. And yep, this is going to be midwife. Alright, so this should be game coming up.
This conversation, then a quick warp to Cliffs, and then this will be GG.
Yep. And Curvy getting race.
And then warp back to Dirtmouth for the end of game. Kirby, it looks like, has already paused in a moment of silence.
And there we go, that's Carefree Melody. So that is game.
GG.
GG.
I'm gonna get that spoiler log up because I got some questions for this seed.
GG.
GG. Oh,
What
God.
a seed.
Yeah. I clicked no eyes and it turned purple.
Yeah, you both did it at like the exact same time. Curvy sniped you by like a second.
Less than a second on the marking the goal, at least.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, GG.
Where was the first pale ore, by the way, that Curvy found?
First pale ore was...
Because I'm figuring the second one was at Queen Station.
I think it was
Soul Catcher.
Oh, Soul Catcher, that's it.
Oh, Soul Catcher. Okay.
Curvy did Weaver Song Boulder Killers. But yeah, it was really rough. It took Curvy a while to go back to Joni's because like it's Joni's who would willingly go there.
Oh, Joni's was just Fireball. Yeah.
No, Joni's was
Dash.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
And that was required.
Goodness, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Vertical movement, not real. Conspiracy.
It really is.
I basically... Yeah, Curvy. How I got I basically got the Queen's Garden Stag at 8 grubs. And that had Dive.
You're joking. Oh my god. It's always the grubs. Every time it's the grubs.
And Wings within crypts. Wings was
literally awful.
We did the math, and that's the exact maximum amount of grubs, because with 8 plus the 3 tolerance on easy logic, you had 5 in Crossroads, 4 in Green Path, 1 in Fungal, and 1 in Cliffs. So it was like the maximally artist required.
Maybe I should get grubs more. That'd probably help.
Yeah, there's just King's Idols at grubs, and then there's like Stagnus Stag at 30, and it's like, yeah, that's progression. It's actually ridiculous. Both your races have had vertical in somewhere.
Vertical is not real. It doesn't exist.
Neither you got Claw.
I was going to say, any guesses on where Claw is?
Hang on, Oh, you got the spoiler log? Where was it?
I say Abyss.
I'm going to guess either Abyss or NMG.
So the duplicate Claw was at Mask Shard Hive, and the intended Claw was at Arcane Egg Shade Cloak.
Wow.
So it wasn't. Okay.
Claw not real. Confirmed.
Claw was not real this seed.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on going to Abyss until I got either a second white fragment for the check Void Heart goal or C dash for the.
I was so confident. Art. Oh my god.
King's Brand was also in crypts. Yeah.
So Tash, a quick question from chat. When did you develop the allergy to Deep Nest?
I just, for some reason, I never like doing Deep Nest, even when I have Lantern. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of annoying without Claw, but I guess
also
still
big brain play on the going into Beast Den when there's like 2 goals, 1 goal. Really just vibing there.
Well, I went into Beast Den because I needed to equip, Grimchild. And
you had Dreamgate.
Yeah, I know. I realized that eventually.
Yeah.
I realized that once I was in Beast's Den.
Yeah. And then you can't even Dreamgate in or out of Beast Den as well, so it's just like... I mean, at least the bench isn't too far and you've done the arena that doesn't respawn.
And then some other spoiler log things. The seed actually baited you a little bit as well, Tash, with that Monomon, because the intended Crystal Heart was at Pleasure House.
Oh.
Optimal.
Finish this race, other than, of course, that Milo lived.
Where were the other simple keys?
An excellent question. The 4 simple keys were at Sly behind Shopkeeper's Key, which I think
Got
you
that
found.
one, yeah.
Fluke Marm, which you found.
I got.
Rancid Egg, Upper Kingdom's Edge, so that's Acrid Egg. And at Shade Soul, Elegant Key and Waterways.
Elegant Key was, I'm guessing, was that the upper egg or at Dung Defender?
And the Dupe Sea Dash was claw locked. It was at Watcher Knights.
Alright.
Incredible. What a seed.
Ella making herself hard to kill this seed.
It was reasonably easy until I got to the 8 grubs for, well, I guess actually you took a long time to get dash, but apart from that, it felt relatively even until I got the 8 grubs.
Yeah, it felt even until you started marking City of Tears goals, and then I panicked.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, you
"What
did really
the
well
hell?"
to keep it 3-3, even down dash master for so long. But then, like, there's only so much you can do when they find vertical
I
behind
had helper log
some
open. I was
cursed
checking
chain.
everything. I was like,
Yeah,
how
we figured
far
that was the
behind was
case.
I on checks?
Because,
When I got to Leg Eater, I saw that he had Grimchild, and I was basically like, okay, I can either keep going towards Elder Who, or I can go to Grim. And I figured, okay, I'll go do Grim, because that also works towards Carefree Melody eventually. I figured Curvy was probably like right behind me, but I guess if he didn't have dash, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
yeah, you were basically tied up in
Elder
the situation and then could keep going.
And when I finished Troopmaster Grim, I realized, Elder Who still isn't marked. I guess maybe I should go do that.
Yeah. I spent my time killing 0 to get some extra essence because I was like, alright, if it's not anywhere else, it should be at Seer something, and then nothing.
Yeah,
There
basically
was
nothing at Seer.
Love Key was there though.
Yeah, love Key, and that's about it. I didn't actually check the Spirit's Glade, though. So.
I did not
So
either.
we were thinking on commentary, because Lurian was at really low essence at Seer as well. We were thinking, I don't know how comfortable you are with that infection skip to Fungal from Crossroads, but we were hopeful that would let you like skip the long loop to get the dash at Joni's and get that second dash right away. But then,
oh yeah, the second dash was
on the intended progression. Yeah.
I've done the infection pogo before. I just totally forgot about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit finicky, and at the end of the day, like, it wasn't intended, so especially in a race setting, it can be really hard to think of that kind of stuff when it's not on your helper log.
Could have, if I got grubs faster, could have gotten black egg check. That'd have been something. Yeah.
I actually checked it. It was a bait, as I recall.
Yeah,
it was a Hellenist seal or something.
Incredible.
Something useless. Yeah.
Which is a shame. Claw at black egg is just amazing.
Always funny. Yeah.
But Claw and Abyss isn't much worse.
Yeah.
Oh, GG to both of you. That was
GG's.
Yeah. GG.
Yeah, and hang on. I'll check the schedule and see when the next race is. But that was a really good one, and cursed as hell seed.
Yeah.
That was
my comeback begins now. I won my first match, and I have lost every single match since then until this one. So now my comeback begins.
Looking for the mad losers run.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of bracket predictions have you going really, really far.
Yeah, I
to the fans.
think I predicted a lot more wins. But yeah, the next race is September 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time between Mike and MQ, so that should be a really good one. And I guess we'll see some of you then.
Yep.
Good luck.
Actually, that day is going to be a day full of racing. There's one at 11 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern.
If you're a fan of Hollow Knight, this weekend is stacked. There are 6 races already.
Yeah. 6 races scheduled for this weekend. That's kind of crazy. All right.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun.
Thanks for commentating,
Yeah.
guys.
GGs.
I'll see you around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, GG's. Later.